Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut this stylish corset dress with a puffy sleeve. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. Let's dive right into today's video. So here is my pattern, and I've gone ahead to mark out all my basic measurements, which includes my shoulder to bust, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to waist, and also the top length. For the blouse length, I added 5 inches after my waistline. So I'll go ahead and mark my shoulder divided by 2, and I'll come down by 1 inch, and I'll connect this for my shoulder slope. And after that, I'll go ahead to find my chest line, which is my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, and I will go ahead to make or draw out a line at that point. So next, what I have on the shoulder, I'll go ahead to mark it there, and I'll connect it all the way to the upper part of my shoulder. So here I'll divide what I have into 2, and I'll mark, and I'll come in by ½ inch. After marking that, I'll go ahead to mark my bust circumference divided by 4. Now I'll connect from that point all the way to the upper part of my shoulder. So after I'm done marking that, I'll go ahead to use my marker to outline that part. So after I'm done outlining that part, the next step I'm going to take is to mark my dart. And to mark my dart, I'll be marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2. I'll mark it all the way from the upper part to the lower part of the pattern, and after that I'll place my ruler and I'm going to draw out a straight line. After I'm done connecting, the next step I'll take is to mark my dart intake of 1 inch at both sides. So I'll mark 1 inch at the left, mark 1 inch at the right, and I'll also repeat that all the way to the lower part. So if you're a plus size, you're going to be using 1.5 inches, or if you have body, you'll be making use of 1.5 inches. So after that, I'll just go ahead and connect all my dart lines. After I'm done connecting, I'm going to place my tape, and I'm going to place my curved drew starting from the bust down to the under bust, and I'll also repeat this at the other side of my pattern. So after I'm done connecting that, I'll just go ahead and use my marker to outline this and also outline the other part of my pattern. So the next thing I'll do from here is to go ahead to go up by 1.5 where I want my cup to start. So I will draw out a line at that point, and I'll mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2 here, and I'll extend the line. After I'm done marking that, I'll just go ahead and mark 1 inch at both sides, and I will be connecting it all the way down and also connect it to the other side of my pattern. So after I'm done connecting this now, I'll go ahead and use my marker to outline the cup area of this pattern. So I'll go ahead to insert my bust circumference divided by 4, measure this dart intake, replace it. So I'll be using the dart intake at the lower part of my pattern because I'm using my pattern to draft out the back, and I'll go ahead to mark. So here I'll mark my under bust divided by 4, and I'll mark. Go ahead to replace the dart and add my sewing allowance. Mark my waist circumference divided by 4, measure this dart intake. While measuring, I noticed my dart was a lot bigger. I had to go ahead and remeasure it. So I'll go ahead and recorrect the dart lines. After reconnecting it, I'll then go ahead to measure the exact dart intake of 2 inches. So here I'll just go ahead and replace the dart and add my sewing allowance. Here I'll mark the hip circumference divided by 4, measure the dart intake, add, and then add my sewing allowance after replacing my dart intake. So now I'll go ahead to place from the bust down to the under bust and down to the waistline, and from that point I'll go ahead to connect it to the blouse length. So after I'm done connecting this, I'll go ahead and use my marker to outline this to make it more visible for you to see. So after I'm done outlining, I'll just go ahead and mark 2 inches all the way from the lower part, and I'll be reconnecting this to the lower part of the dress this way. After I'm done reconnecting this for the lower part of my pattern this way. This is what I have, and now we're going to go ahead to outline it with my marker, and after that we'll be working on the cup area of this pattern. So after this, I'll come in by 1/2 inch, and after that point I'll just go ahead to connect this all the way to the under bust of the corset pattern this way. So this is to create the cup at this side, and after I'm done doing that, I'll just go ahead and connect from the upper part of my cup down to that point. So this is what I have, and you can go ahead to blend what you have here to make sure that it's on a straight line, and instead of taking it to the chest line, I will go up a bit by 1/2 inch or 0.75. This is to draw out the sleeve because this dress has a puffy sleeve. So measuring what I have from that point to my chest line, I have about 2 inches. And after I'm done marking that, I'll just go ahead and use my marker to reconnect this pattern. After I'm done reconnecting my pattern, the next step I'm going to take right now is to go ahead to draw out the side of my cup. I'll mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus 1/2 inch. My nipple to nipple divided by 2 is 3.5 plus 1/2 inch, making it 4 inches. So I'll just go ahead and use my marker to connect. So this is what I have on this part of my cup or my corset. So the next thing I'll do is to go ahead to label my pattern. Here is cup A and here is cup B. C meaning center and S meaning side. So after this, I'll just go ahead and cut out my pattern. So now this pattern that we cut out for the front, we'll also be using it to trace out the back pattern, which will make this corset drafting easier. For the sleeve of the dress, we are going to be cutting it when we are actually making the dress. So I'll just go ahead and cut out the rest of this pattern. So you can also follow us on our Instagram page at Maki's Closet, or you can follow me on my personal page at Maki's Sweets. So at this point, if you have any question, please don't forget to leave your question at the comment section, and if you haven't yet subscribed, please hit on the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. So after cutting it out, I'm going to leave it this way for now, and I will be blending this in to cut out the back. So for the back pattern, I added a zipper allowance of 1.5 inches. I'm making this actually with a zipper, and I'll place my front pattern on this, and I'll pin it this way, and also pin the lower part just to make sure that it is on that zipper allowance. And now I'll go ahead and blend out these points, place it together in such a way that the cup will be meeting and the dart lines will be meeting. And after that, I'll just go ahead and I will trace out the pattern. So before I go ahead to trace out, I'll mark this point because it is my chest line, and I will lift this part of my cup because you don't want it to have that breast cup or corset cup shape, and I will connect this. After I'm done connecting this, I will go ahead to draw out the armhole side of this pattern and also trace out the rest of the pattern. After I'm done tracing out, this is what I have. I'll mark the zipper point, the lower part, the waist point, the lower part, and the chest line. So this point will be serving as a reference when I'm actually cutting some part of the back. So I'll just go ahead and unpin this. So this is what I have at the back pattern. So for the lower part, I'm just going to straighten it a bit because I don't want the back to be a bit low, or probably when you're sitting it will be folding. So I'll just go ahead and draw out a straight line at that point. So what I will do is just to go ahead to use my marker, and I will go ahead to mark out the rest of my pattern. I'll be taking out the zipper bulge at the back of the dress, but first I'll just go ahead and outline my pattern to make it more visible for you to see. And after I'm done doing that, I'll just go in by 1/2 inch at the zipper at the waistline and extend it to the lower part, and I'll also take it all the way up. This is to get rid of the bulginess at the back of the zipper and to make the dress to relax. So if you're making use of a lacing bar area, all you have to do is go in by 2 inches or 1.5 after the zipper line. And with this, I'll just go ahead to trace out the rest of the pattern. So over here, I'll come down by 1/2 inch at the back. This is to avoid the zip from popping up at the upper part and to make it relax very well at that side. So I'll just go ahead and cut out the rest of the pattern. After I'm done cutting out, this is what I have, and I will take out the zipper bulge at the dress. So after cutting it, this is what the back pattern looks like. So for this dress, you can go ahead and slash the pattern into two, like to cut the center to create a design at that point. So after this, we'll be heading over to the back pattern. So now I'll go ahead and bring the front pattern back, and I will go ahead to cut it out. So I'll be cutting out the cup areas because I'm done cutting out the back pattern. So after this is what my pattern looks like, and in our next tutorial I'll be cutting out the sleeve and we'll be sewing this pattern. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the YouTube channel, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button. If you have any question, also please leave it at the comment section, and see you in our next sewing tutorial. Thanks.